Our Hourly Bread is the 21st episode of the 6th season of Cheers. This is directed by Andy Ackerman, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And it's a really brilliant episode, really thoroughly enjoyed it, very funny in a lot of ways. Starts off with a mailman coming in to talk to Cliff, and they're talking in their own kind of language, their own lingo. Not a bad way to start things off. Norm's comment about saying how he always thought about asking Cliff what they were talking about, but worried Cliff would end up explaining it, I quite liked. After the intro, Frasier says that he is going to get a gift for Lilith. He leaves. Cliff then comes in, and he says that he's going to buy Norm a beer, and Norm falls off of the seat. And we see him hit the ground. They didn't film it where George Wendt threw himself off the floor and we don't see the impact, presumably because they would put down some padding. He actually does throw himself. It seems quite painful. We see him colliding with the floor, and Norm falls over because obviously Cliff buying him a drink, that's unheard of. And it turns out that Cliff's in a good mood because he's got a raise. And Woody mentions that he's been working at Cheers for a while, but he's not had a raise in a long time. And Sam suggests if he wants a raise, you need to put Rebecca in a good mood, try complimenting her. And Woody asks, what should I compliment? And Sam suggests the first thing you see. So Woody goes into the office, and the first thing he sees is Rebecca's butt, as she's standing on something to sort out some shelves. And I didn't pick up on what Rebecca was doing when things played out the way they did, because Woody starts saying he's been at Cheers a long time, and Rebecca instantly cuts him off saying, I'm not giving you a title. People work here for 10, 15 years before they get a title. And I genuinely thought that she was being sincere and thought Woody wanted a title, which says more about me than anything else. But when she said, oh, you just want a raise, that's fine, Woody realises that a title must be really important, and he doesn't just want some money, he wants a title instead. And Rebecca, seemingly reluctantly, gives him the title of senior bartender. And he goes back to the bar, really happy with himself, and the guys point out that she had conned him into making him think a title was a good thing so that she didn't have to give him a raise. Once they said that, it made perfect sense, but I did not pick up on that. He's very happy, though, and Carla asks him, so now that you've scratched and clawed your way to the top of your profession, you still going to talk to us little people? And Woody hesitates and says, little people? Oh, right, you folks don't like to be called midgets anymore. I'm allowed to laugh at that because I am the same height, exactly the same height, as Rhea Perlman. I'm allowed to laugh at that. Carla's response was brilliant. Sam then decides to go and talk to Rebecca, and she confesses that they're losing money, which is not great. But then he comes out and has the title of executive supervising bartender, so he's pretty happy. Carla then goes in and she comes out with managing director of waitresses. So everybody's happy, but nobody's got their money. And Woody goes to confront Rebecca again, and she comes out to Cheers and basically confesses to the bar that Cheers has money problems. And Norm was heartfelt and funny at the same time, because he starts by saying, Cheers means about as much to me as it does to anybody here, which was really sweet and really moving. And then he suggested that because of that, they should give everybody a sympathy round of drinks. And Norm does spend quite a lot of this episode just trying to get free beer, which is very much on brand for Norm. Sam and Norm are then having a conversation about what they can maybe do to try and get some more money. Sam asks Norm what they do when he's worked for these big companies as an accountant, and Norm replies, first they go and fire off all the deadwood. Sam asks, and then what? And Norm's response, I'm long gone by then, which I rather liked. And they end up suggesting a raffle. And obviously that will bring in a lot of people because people will pay for the raffle. They want to win this Caribbean cruise. That is the hope. And we'll get back to that in a moment. Frasier then comes in with a piece of art for his anniversary gift. It is interesting that we don't see the wedding at this point. It kind of just jumped forward a lot from the bachelorette parties to their 1 month anniversary, which is a bit of a shame, but we do get more of that further down the line, but I won't say any more than that now. Frasier comes in with this piece of art, and Woody suggests it looks like a couple of dogs getting real familiar, which I just thought was absolutely adorable. And Frasier ends up asking Rebecca to keep hold of the painting for a couple of days before their anniversary. She agrees to do that. We then cut to the bar, and it is very, very busy. Clearly, a lot of people have come out to see who's winning this Caribbean cruise. It's decorated, a lot of people are wearing brightly coloured shirts. And Lilith comes in, and even she's wearing a bright colour. She's wearing a relatively bright blue colour. And Frasier asks her a passing comment about what she thinks of Tidwell, the artist of the painting he bought her. And she doesn't speak very favourably of him, so Frasier ends up giving her the key to his Mercedes instead. And then we have the raffle draw. Woody spins the balls and picks up 99 for the trip to the Caribbean. And number 99 is really happy. The music starts playing. Everybody's having a great time. And then Sam points out that it's actually number 66 upside down. And if Sam hadn't said anything, nothing would have happened. But then Woody says there's a correction. It's 66. Number 66 is really happy about this. Balloons are everywhere. The music is playing. It's really great. But then obviously number 99 is not happy because 5 seconds ago he had won the cruise. And they start to have this argument, and they try and say that nobody really wants to go because it's bad for the skin. They use Al as an example. Al is meant to be 24 years old, and Rebecca decides to put on a display. I think part of her was genuinely emotional about this, but she was definitely acting as well, where she basically was crying about the fact that she'll make sure both of them get to go on this cruise, but she'll probably lose her job in the process. And then one of them decides to give up the cruise, even though they have all of these difficult problems in their life. And then the other one comes in with a it's funny, I promise. So the other one comes in with a sob story, and then Carla just snakes her way around the patrons and stands in front and says, "What about my sob story? I've got 8 kids." And then after just a tiny second of a pause, as dryly as possible, Cliff just says, "Heard it." It was funny. Me saying it does it no justice, but I enjoyed it a lot. And Sam suggests they both win a prize. The other first prize is the Tidwell painting. Probably should have checked with Frasier first, but nevertheless, they're trying to save Cheers here. And it turns out that one of the cruise winners really wanted to own an original Tidwell. So he asked the other guy, "Do you mind if you take the cruise?" Obviously, the other guy doesn't mind. Everybody's happy. And then there is a consolation prize, and Woody spins the balls, picks number 11. And he's so adorable. He picks out number 11, realizes it looks the same upside down, and just says, "Oh no, here we go again." Obviously, number 11 upside down is still number 11, but it was just absolutely adorable. It's a really fun episode. Obviously, nobody likes to think of the possibility that Cheers could be having money troubles, that Cheers could be no more, but at the same time, it's very funny. Personal highlights would be Norm throwing himself off that stool. I'd love to ask George Wendt if that hurt, because I'm genuinely surprised they didn't put down some crash mats and just show us him falling, like from bar level, so we don't see the impact. But no, credit to, well, George Wendt, I guess. Not credit to anybody who made him do it, but he did throw himself off that bar stool. And Woody, just in general, Woody in this episode was absolutely adorable. And Cliff's line, "Heard it." I promise it's funny. I really liked that. Really solid episode. Definitely well done. I don't know how they got the money for the cruise. I don't know. I can't imagine they earned or they raised that much money from the raffle tickets to afford a cruise. Maybe they did, and then also to have money left over to save Cheers. It seems unlikely, but let's not overthink it. At the end of the day, the raffle worked. Cheers has money. And this is a really solid episode. Really thoroughly enjoyed our hourly bread.